Going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs. I'm Dylan. They just got punched in the mouth. They didn't even know how to react.
That is one Derby Diamond.
I'm Mila. Do we want to do a little prediction? That was the last time they showed initiative to go get a fucking player.
They're still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero.
I'm Grant. They're talking a lot about you 15. How will you respond 15?
We downgraded from Peppa. Do you know how absurd that is?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Clubs, episode 61. Quick shout out to Moofdini and Garnt for the sick intro beat. Have to give guys credit since we keep getting copyrighted, and I don't want to get copyrighted again. So shout out to those guys. They make good music.
Hold it from the vault.
Anyways, plug. Trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're at 59. So if you want to be lucky number 60, click the subscribe button. But also click notifications, like, and all that fun jazz. We're also on social media. Took a little hiatus the last couple weeks, but we'll be posting more on there.
Be better, Dylan.
I'm trying my best.
No more.
I'm not very good at it. Anyways,
international break.
Yeah, I'll probably talk about the U.S. at some point. They play again. They're probably gonna suck again. So I'll talk about it. But
it's the manager's fault.
Probably.
No one else.
Anyways, today's episode, since it's an international break, we're gonna break down the Premier League transfer window. We'll go through a bunch of teams. We'll give them a ranking out of 10, but we'll go in depth on how we feel their new signings and their outgoings affect their season. And then in the darkest of all derbies, with two teams that just love, in recent memory, to go into derbies with just the worst form possible, we got another Manchester derby. I think it's the 197th. I think. So we'll talk about that at the very end. Let's jump into it. We'll start at the broad discussion about the league spending as a whole. It eclipsed, was it $3 billion?
More than the rest of the top 5 leagues combined.
That's nuts. The spending power in the Prem is proving to be pretty difficult for all the other leagues to compete with. I saw some links today with Wharton and Real Madrid. So to put it into perspective,
wait for that contract to expire.
Probably. But just to put it into perspective of what this league has from talent-wise, from the bottom of the league to the very, very top, it's crazy. But let's jump into Villa, because they're at the very bottom of this list. Yeah, where do you want to take that, Grant?
I mean, I think we've known that they've had financial issues for quite a while now. They've been teetering the line. They were one VAR decision away from the team potentially folding in very recent history. So I think it's important to remember the context, but they've always been strapped. I mean, we did a PSR deal with them last year. Mattson, we gave him almost $20 million for a kid who we just loaned to a League One side. They brought in Evan Gesson. Totally pronounced it wrong. It's probably closer to Gesson. I still have him on my bench in fantasy. He has played one half. Again, not too much to really judge off him, but he's a solid player. Marco Bizot, as we know, they also brought in. They spent $500,000 on him. Lindelof on a free, Harvey Elliott on loan, obligation to buy. And I think we're seeing a lot of those too, loans with obligations, because teams have to balance books. And then I think what really sums up the financial issues in terms of their business and targets, Sancho comes in on loan. I think we kind of know what we're going to get with him. I don't even think there's really too much to talk about there. He wants that money he was told he would get. Totally respect that. That's just kind of my opinion based off of his decisions these past few years, teams-wise. Harvey Elliott's an interesting one. I actually do think he's a solid player. Never really got that run. So again, it's a 34-year-old keeper. Lindelof on a free. Dylan, yes or no? Do you think he makes them better?
I guess. I don't think
was leaning towards
no. I don't think he's been as bad as people probably make it out to be, but he hasn't been healthy, and so it's just like a depth piece. He's gonna fill that Disassi role from last season.
Big shoes to fill.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
I think that's all their business. That's all their business. Any good outgoings?
They lost Rashford on the end of
They
his
had
loan.
to sell Jacob Ramsey to Newcastle.
and they had to sell
Newcastle bought Jacob Ramsey for 45 million. As we know, Newcastle sold Elliot Anderson last year because of PSR. He's playing for England now. So I think it's a really interesting conversation because we don't have these numbers in front of us. And by these numbers, not the ones on our screen, but how far away are we before we're in trouble? We don't know that information compared to American sports where we know exactly who's getting paid what, how much they can spend. It's just so blurry to me. But I think it's really obvious that there's issues in terms of how this goes. I mean, I'm sure an AC Milan are looking at Sunderland and they're just shocked. Like, what? Why is Sunderland spending the money and the players they brought in? I think it's great for this league, but in broader terms, man,
at the end of the day, like people are choosing. You're not being forced to come to the Premier League. They're choosing to come to the Premier League, regardless of how much we want to pay for them. Like choosing to go to us over other teams, and you see La Liga officials, La Liga affiliates talking about like how La Liga needs to step it up and influence people to come back to Spain rather than go to England, whether that be a money.
Yeah, I saw
thing
Cucurella talking about it too, actually.
Well, he also talked about it, but I think there's a little bias in that, given that he plays for the Prem.
No, but he was saying that Spain needs to.
Yeah, I know.
It needs to improve. Yeah.
I saw the quote. But in terms of just Villa, they are kind of stuck in this weird area where
Emmy's still there.
Usually, you sell your players, your good players, to be in that PSR area. You're not really looking to compete. And then Villa are in this PSR issue trying to compete and to stay afloat. They're selling their best players, which I think is just counteractive. When you're trying to win and you're selling off your best players, I get why they have to do it. And we don't need to get into all the financial stuff, but they're just stuck.
They held some of them though. Like Rodgers, they were able to keep. I think he'll end up being an expensive player, but
they
Watkins,
and they'll probably sell him next year. Like it's not like they're selling them 1 year after another to hold on to financial balance to stay afloat, and then they're gonna sell Rodgers next year or in 2 years, and do the same thing. But I think last year was just really a strong push to win something to get out of this hole that they're in. Because at the end of the day, it's either sell the players, like a Brighton does, or win trophies, like some of these other teams do. And they're kind of in the middle of both of those right now. I think that's where the real struggle is.
Yeah.
For me, I look at Villa and I see a team that took a swing and missed, and missed pretty badly. Close. At the end there, and now you have to deal with the repercussions of missing. And so I admire them for taking the punt, like you said, Grant, from a team that was just relegation battle based off a bad VAR decision to now still has Europe, was able to actually keep Watkins, Rodgers, Onana, like those
things, whether or not they wanted to.
Whether or not he wanted to. Yeah. Those are all things that go to him. I like the Harvey Elliott signing. I think that's a good one. The fee's interesting. There must be some form of buyback in there because
Liverpool sell on. I think that's
Liverpool were like penciling him in at 50 million and got rid of him for 30 with the obligation. So there's got to be something in there. I think
he's a loan with obligations too. We've seen that all over. I think it's
for cash. That's what
wages are. I think wages are pretty important because I'm just looking at the transfer market page. Do you know who just got off their books? Coutinho.
Oh wow,
he was on their books this whole time. So I think when I don't have the numbers in front of me, unfortunately, but from what I know, they've tended to been pretty wage heavy. That hasn't been a problem. They're covering most of Sancho's wages. So I think that hurts you too. It's not. I do think there are some rules that limit these guys in terms of them versus the big six, that big overarching discussion, but they're spending a lot of money regardless of that. And I think, like we're saying, it's now starting to hurt you because you banked a lot of it on UCL money kind of bailing you out. We saw it with the loan business they did. They probably would have kept Asensio at least. They would have had a good shot at Rashford. He probably would have held out for Barca, who wouldn't. But yeah, I think that really killed them. You can argue another bad VAR decision, so maybe what goes around comes around. But yeah, it is. I think Mila hit the nail on the head. It's this weird purgatory they're in. they can definitely still qualify for Champions League. I think it's a long shot, but I mean, it's so open this year. I think any team can really hit a stride and have a shout for it. But I think European spots would still be realistically a success for them.
Yeah, I'm expecting a drop off still. I don't think that they did enough for me, and I did, especially in the wide areas for an Emery. For an Emery,
Leon Bailey's gone.
They didn't get
Not that he was
anybody
playing
in wide positions. Like McGinn is still like, there's a chance that Harvey Elliott's playing right wing for them. Like that's not his system.
Did I not mention Jadon Sancho, Dylan?
Yeah, that's another player that fits the same mold of like is a winger, but is really more of like a inside forward ish thing.
Yeah, right. There's
just a mix.
He has to fit in a system to be good type of player.
not an Emery signing. But
yeah, that was a we can't get anybody else.
What Grant was just talking about though, Sancho's their highest paid player.
Yeah,
I think it's 80% of his wages.
Yeah. Daniel Malen is the 6th highest paid player. So
yeah, that's a disgusting.
I forgot about Daniel Malen
and paying them top. Exactly, they're playing these mid players top dollar, and that's I think where the biggest issue is like
shooting themselves in the foot there.
To pay the good guys, so you have to sell those good guys.
And Malen didn't even get registered for Champions League when they signed him in January.
Too much.
Yeah, the other team that we're going to talk about here, Newcastle, it's the same thing. Their wage bill is a significant portion of their revenue. Like if you look at those things, those matter in the and so you've got two teams that, regardless of who their owners are, their owners can splash the cash. It's not really an issue. I think all Premier League owners at this point are at that level. But when your wage bill is so disrupted because you thought that was your way of competing with the top 6, that your wage bill is so fucked up that it's worse than United's, that's where you start to get into this battle. And that's honestly why Newcastle, I think, found themselves in the spot that they're in now. And
I think
they just keep bidding against themselves. That's what they did all summer, is they bid against the Big 6, bid against themselves so many times that essentially they just moved the needle up further and further, whether it was wages, demands from other teams, or ultimately what they ended up paying for Alenga, Voltamata, and Ramsey. Like all those were at premium prices, and it's because everyone looked at their transfer business and saw it.
And they know, they aired it. Was all out there, to your point. Yeah. Go ahead, Mila.
For those signings specifically, those new signings, those are going to be the hefty price ones. Just looking at the rest of their contracts, they're not getting paid that much. Bruno G is their captain. He's not really making that much money. But then you talk about the Isaks, the Voltamatas, the Alangas, the Wissas, I'm missing one guy.
The Ramsey.
I don't think Malik Diaw's making
Tiao.
Ramsey's probably making
Tiao.
Tiao, whatever. Yeah, I don't think he's making that much, but
probably not.
The accumulation from all of those guys and what they will make is going to be a problem. I think as long as they can properly phase out some of these older guys that are making a little too much money within the next 1 to 2 years, it'll be all right. Trippier, you're gonna have to get rid of Schär at some point, probably. Who's also not really making that much money.
Yeah, I mean, I just think of their bench. They've always had guys pre-takeover on that bench. You know, it always kind of feels like they haven't.
It's those guys that are probably costing them.
Matt Target is getting. They loaned Matt Target out. That's, you know what I mean? He should not be there at this phase, right? This is their second time going into the Champions League, right? He should not be on your bench, respectfully. I think you can't have your business aired out like that. We kept hearing food chain a lot. You know, people love taunting, all that good stuff, but we kind of talked about it throughout the summer. We're they're in the Champions League. Newcastle is not the type of club to say, "Oh, we're a Champions League team. Come play here, and you're going to be in the again, Liverpool, Arsenal, City are the only teams that can really guarantee that right now. You can't just make it 1 year and all of a sudden bring everybody in. It's not how it works. Mm-hmm. And I think they found out all their business in public. Every time a player chose to go somewhere else, the next guy they go to, let's just use Stuttgart as the example. How much do you want to pay? Just whatever you offered for Šeško would be great. You know, so to your point, they kind of handicap themselves in that sense. Man, I don't even know what's going through their heads because they spent so much money. They did get names in, but that just had to have been humiliating. That whole summer, just in public, everything, all the dirty laundry out.
Yeah, the
Definitely
worst
didn't
part
go to
is
plan.
I think if I was to objectively step away and look at the players that they signed, like they're all pretty good players. Like Alenga absolutely does a job, and Wissa was one of the best Premier League strikers last year, 19 goals, like 2 really good signings. But when I look at what they lost in comparison, it's a gut punch. That's what that whole summer's got to feel for Newcastle. Now, Eddie Howe getting these 4 or 5 guys, like sure they might be a better team. I just don't know if it feels like all of that was a lot of drainage to the club and to the people that were involved. Like the players had to deal with the Isak situation, and now you've got this tempered expectations on Wissa and Voltamar. I'm gonna butcher his name. Voltamata. Why is
Call him Nick?
That's much better. So on Wissa and Nick, like you're gonna have this issue of they have to live up to whatever Isak's expectations are this year, and that's tough. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mila, do you think that Newcastle has the ability to, I guess, what is the expectations for them this season with
I don't think
those guys?
I mean, I'm not a Newcastle fan, and I don't really know that many, but I don't think they're really expecting these 2 guys to beat Isak or to reproduce that level of goals. And like you were saying, if you look at who they brought in just from an outside perspective, it looks like a good window. And I think everyone's focused a little too much on the negative of all this. Like, yes, they did look bad, but they managed to land on their feet at the end of the window and bring in big names after getting all these big names. Like, we were joking around saying no one wants to go to Newcastle. And they still managed to get Voltamata, Wissa, and
Ramsey.
Voltamata had an agreement with Bayern. Not the fee, but he is a German player ready to go to Bayern, and Newcastle were able to convince him. Yeah,
I think it looked bad because yes, they were rejected early in the window, but that happens to a lot of teams, especially ones that aren't established yet. They're on their way up there. So yes, it's going to take some convincing for people to come to the team. But I think this is a great step forward. If you can get the Voltamata, it was a lot of money, but you're just gonna have to pay that nowadays. If you can convince them to come to you over at Bayern, over one of these other teams, I think that's good business.
Yeah, I mean, I get the price tag and I understand the player. I'm not sold.
Oh, total project. He's super raw, and I think that's why the Vissa signing getting over the line is so important because he's the opposite. Oh, they spent a lot. 1 year left on his deal. He's 28, 29 years old. But you know exactly what he is. So I think
lower ceiling,
it's a better
opposite.
It's a better environment for Voltamata. They're not just going to be expected, hey, you better hit the ground running. I don't think it's going to be that, but that's not to say it's, I'll take your time. Like, no, it's somewhere in the middle there.
If they had gotten Sesko, I'd still be saying the same stuff.
Absolutely.
It's just it's unfortunate because the optics of it are they spent the Isak money on Wissa and whoever the other striker was. Like that was what it was always going to pan out to. That's what the expectations are going to be from a public eye for the rest of the season, which is tough. Which is tough for them as a whole. But I think they got better. And Eddie Howe with that level of talent, like
Ramsey's a good player.
Yeah, they got deeper.
Ramsey's probably one of the underrated ones that they picked up. I wonder, he wasn't getting enough minutes at Villa, and I think
never got. Had some injury issues, but never played.
Yeah.
How do you think they line up?
Eddie Howe's pretty adaptable to me. I think he's not stuck in his ways, if you will. So I think with this set again, whether it's Voltamata clicking, Vissa clicking, maybe both of them, I think he's got options. I think he has a war chest, if you will.
I think
to your point, he's got a lot of talent,
too, just within the personnel that they have. I think Liverpool.
I think
easy.
You can have a pivot of Bruno and Tonali. I think Bruno and Tonali is just a really strong base, and then from that point, whatever your front four looks like, throw a third midfielder in depending on who you're playing. I've seen him; he killed us with a back five. Murphy at wing back. Like, I think he's got enough in this squad. To Mila's point, you might have won me over, honestly. Like, there's a lot more positives once you kind of put the past behind you, because it was a rough saga, but they had it just happened. There's nothing they could have done with what happened.
I think if he was still there, I think it would be a lot more valid to talk about it. But now that the bad apples,
Isak agenda.
I mean, dude, it happens. Look at what
It is,
City
yeah,
did when
because
we got
Vissa did the
Cancelo
same
up.
thing to get there.
Cancelo fucking crashed out. We were playing terrible. We got rid of him, and we fucking went on to win things that we have not
You're
won
right.
before.
I'm on Mila's side, Dylan.
There's
He
one
won me
player
over.
that can come in. Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're arguing in any way. This is
No,
No,
I
but
actually-
I was gonna rate this window kind of low for Newcastle, but
I think
you've
they're
changed
high,
my mind.
in my opinion.
So we're gonna rate both of them.
Sure,
Newcastle, Villa?
I think Villa's is like a 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2. I think 2 is good.
Yep, 2 it is.
Newcastle for me is a 7. If I had to put a number on it, like
I can't.
I'm not high. I'm not high on this window, but I think that it, as a response to the saga and getting the players
Context.
They got in, Alenga is Premier League proven. Wissa is Premier League proven. Ramsey is Premier League proven, and then you got a project in there. All
Ramsdale relegation proven.
Dude, it's a good window with a good manager. I think. Now it's just about how quickly can they adapt with Champions League looming. That will be
their first game's Barcelona at St. James.
Oh, easy.
That's fucking electric.
That's
electric, dude.
Yeah, that should be fun.
That's gonna be cool.
I'm thinking closer to a 6, but honestly, I was gonna probably go 4 before I heard Mila out. I do think there's enough talent there. That's kind of where I'm going with it. But again, optics were just so bad. They went through a lot. Whether or not it was their fault, like it did happen to them and affected their club. So yeah, I'd go 6.
Cool, 6. All right. Well, it's time to get into the big
8.
6. Oh, whoa.
Look,
right as
they
it's the
got
big
rid of,
6,
they
you went
were
big 8.
forced to get rid of their top tier striker. This guy's an easily debatable top 5, C.O.C. And then they managed to replace him with one of the most sought after strikers in the world. And there's not a lot to choose from right now. So I think that's great. You're set in that position. It could have been a panic buy, and like it still can be, I guess. It still can be. But I think they did a really good job with Voltemata, and then like you said, just a little pieces outside of that to accentuate the rest of the squad that they have. I think they're looking good, and it's just about keeping it all together.
Look at us. 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. Cool. Anyways, top 6. Let's get into it. It's the question that I think every big outlet is asked, so I'm gonna ask it. It's gonna be the thumbnail of this next section. Did Liverpool win the transfer window? And did they win the summer transfer window? They spent 446 million fucking pounds.
If you
the
ask
answer
them,
to this
they
question
can't
is
win it. They can't win it if they spent that
can't.
much money.
Good
They're
point.
disqualified for spending that much money if you ask the Liverpool fan base.
Well, Mila, they can't compete with the likes of City and United and Chelsea. They live on a different planet. 446 million pounds.
Not
all
euros.
to this bald bastard.
Hey, you watch how you speak about bald coaches.
Hey. It's crazy. So they broke the record for a British transfer record with Wirtz. And then they
want to see me do it again.
They said, fuck it, we're gonna do it again. And
as a fellow net spend enthusiast, I rate it. You know what I mean? I know you guys don't, and I will let you guys have the floor in that sense. But in terms of a net spend enthusiast, they did get a lot of people out. Just off the top of my head, like Kwanzaa and Elliott, which will be recorded next year. But there's a lot of guys that Doak for 25 million. They started to look at our notes, starting to sell these academy guys for what looked like inflated. But I mean, shit, 25 million for Doak, you take that. They did sell a lot of guys, but they brought in guys, didn't they? I think it's like a really good FIFA transfer window. Like, if I like just hopped on the game as like if you give the game to a 12-year-old, like those are the type of transfers he makes, right?
Just called himself a 12-year-old.
Nah, listen, I do realistic transfers, okay? Let's make one thing very clear. But no, seriously, like that's kind of felt like, oh yeah, Frimpong, nice. Kirkus, he was really good last year. Let's have him. Wirtz, yeah, we'll take him. Record. Isak, we'll do that too. I'm not, obviously we'll get to ratings at the end. I think it was a 10 if they got Gahey in. I feel like they covered almost every base. I'm always kind of questionable with the midfield. I feel like we've had this conversation a million times. So I guess I kind of stick to the transfers themselves. Yes. I don't know what else they could have done to tell the whole league, yeah, we want to win the title again. I can't think of any other transfers. So I think, yes, they definitely won the window. I think the greater discussion, which we've had a million times, I think now that it's shut, we can really have it, is, does it make sense? I think he'll figure it out, but there's definitely underlying signs in the small sample size we have that there might be some problems. And I think that's a perfect segue to let one of you two talk about those potential underlying issues they might have with these new additions.
Mila, the floor is yours.
So angry right now. Dude, fuck them. You know how you show people you're serious about winning the title again? Winning the title again.
But we're talking about the window.
I know. But like, I don't know. It's fine. They can spend this money. I just think after all the complaining that I've heard throughout my entire fucking watching of this sport,
it's an important place to have the conversation.
It's fucking absurd for you to not only break the fucking record once, twice, in one window. How many of the fucking top transfers in Premier League history do they have? I think it's 3 or 4.
It's a lot. Yeah.
They've
won. They broke the record on a goalie, a center back, a midfielder, and a striker. Every single spot.
I'm appalled. And yeah, sure, they won the window. They can spend whatever money they want if it's within the rules. But for all the chat that they've had in the past, and they do this and just be okay with it, don't really hear that many fans slapping their own team's hands on this one. So
fantastic point. I think well done. Well done to bring that up, because I think that's it's more important to me, because I've been seeing it on my timeline too. Important to preface, Dylan, you're good at this. It's not a real place, you know what I mean? Twitter and all that, but like the amount of people talking about Wirtz and the expectations, and again, that's the internet. I think he'll be a good player for Liverpool personally, but people are getting on to him. He's had a slow start. I think it's totally valid, some critiques he's gotten. But to the fans that are like, oh my God, these people are just coming after Wirtz, I can't believe it. They're still making jokes about Caicedo's mom. It's the same fans. It's the same accounts. So like, to Mila's whole point, you got to keep that energy. You have to keep the exact same energy you had beforehand. Like, if you were going crazy about City spending and what Chelsea did, you should speak up and say, I don't have a problem with it anymore, honestly. I respect that. Like, opinions change over time. It's totally okay, but you gotta pick a side. I think that's kind of more important in terms of clarity. I think we all understand, like, yeah, they spent a ton of money. They usually don't. Sure, I don't have a problem with it, but I think to Mila's point, like, that should be clarified. Like, you have to keep that same energy. You have to.
Yeah. I also just don't like the agendas that pay City to be the bad guy, and they do this
but they are
in the background. I mean, we're front and center this window in a lot of media things, and Liverpool have just broken the record twice, but it's Reiner's in the front. It's the little things.
Yeah, I saw one with like Buonanotte left out of the squad as a thumbnail for Champions League. Like they bought Chiesa and are paying him a lot of money. He's not in their squad. Like
exactly. No one wants to
weird
talk
narratives.
About them. They do weird things. They win.
I agree.
A trophy every once in a while, and it's okay. And I'm like, all right, it's fine. But you spend $500 million. You win the league last year. That's a double target on the back. And like you were saying, they shouldn't be fucking complaining. Like your chances.
Yeah, I think there's no excuse.
You're gonna have
really
people coming for you. Whether
there's no
online,
excuse.
Twitter warriors or fucking players on the pitch. Like it's just what you're gonna have to deal with. Especially
there's additional context.
There's gonna be a two-footed challenge, either verbally or physically, coming for you.
There's additional context, but at the end of the day, the team that just won the league by 10 points spent $500 million.
They're
right?
just a hypocritical team in every aspect. They called us cheaters, and then who got caught cheating first?
Yeah, they're a hypocritical bunch.
Liverpool. So, I don't want to.
Window's a 9.5 out of 10 for me, though.
Yeah,
it's a great window.
Look,
9 is fine.
I actually want to say It's an 8 for me personally, and it's because I think if you spend $500 million, I shouldn't have questions. I shouldn't have questions about the squad makeup. I shouldn't have questions about who goes where, and can I fit my 80 million pound striker next to my 140 million pound striker? That shouldn't be a question. It should be hey, I just spent 200 million on strikers. They go here and here in the biggest games. There's a chance that Ekitike is going to be a bench player in the biggest games. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that they have been leaky all summer and then they left it to the deadline to get their center back. That's nuts. Their right back got hurt in match week 1. They're playing Szoboszlai at right back. He's been their best player. He's going to have to fit or not fit in the squad. That's way too much questions for a team that spent $500 million. $500 million.
I think a lot of your questions will get answered by the manager, whether you're right or wrong. Sure. I think your thought essentially is like, this is a lot for him to figure out. But no, it's a fair point.
He's got enough credit in the bank, and I
absolutely
fully am under.
He's got a lot to work with, though. To your point,
the talent that they brought in will play to a certain level. That's not my question, but I do have questions in terms of like they're going to come to Champions League games, and when initially I thought that they would be better in the Champions League this season, I think I'm less on that. I think that they can get got at in games like that against a Real Madrid. If in a one-off situation, I think a team can play them on the counter and win games. I mean, Newcastle almost beat them with 10 men.
I think
they looked really good in the second half.
It's a very balls to the wall approach this season for them. It's live by the sword, die by the sword to like the extreme. And I don't think it's going to work out, but we were wrong last year about that, so it's more than fucking possible. But
what's your rating, Mila?
My rating? It's like an 8 or a 9. I'm not like mind blown by it, so I'm not going to give it a 10, but they brought in some good players. I think they overpaid for some players.
That's the game.
We'll see what happens in the future.
I'm an 8. Mila's a 9. You're a 9.5. I'm going to stick it as a 9 for the group. Did they win the transfer window in the Prem? Probably.
So far?
Probably. I don't know. I don't think I have a 10 for the window for anybody to preface that. Yeah. But let's jump into Chels. Grant, your team did as they always do. Buy a bunch of players, sell a bunch of players. So go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it was almost like two separate windows, where it was like pre and technically during the Club World Cup and then after. I felt like the lap was great business at 30 million, especially after all these fees we've been hearing about these other players. I think that's going to be that's a great deal. I just saw a name on there again. And then, I think Asugo for 18.5. Caicedo played every game. Good cover. Lavia is a mythical player until future. I hope he stays fit more. Hato cover for Cucurella. He has also played a ton of minutes and didn't have a backup. Garnacho for 40 million, like let's call a spade a spade. It's a good deal given what he's done in the league and his age profile and what we paid. I think it's a pretty good deal. I have my reservations about the player, but he's Chelsea now. And his competition, Gittins, for 51.5. I'm pretty high on him still. As I've mentioned before, our Doomer fan base is already starting to ask questions about Gittins, like he hasn't played more than 20 minutes in the league. Buonanotte on loan. I'll save that. João Pedro's the best deal we've made. I think he made us world champions for one. And then again, Voltamato went for 85 million euros. So that's probably like 75 million pounds. We got João Pedro for 15 less. Can play in the 10. I think one of our better attackers, if not our best other than Palmer already. Great business. And then, Buonanotte. I mean, I think that's directly tied to Xavi Simons. We didn't end up putting a bid in after, what seemed like it was a done deal for over a month. We never put the bid in. I think it was a PSR thing. We had UEFA sanctions where we had to balance our squad. So only the sales from our Conference League knockout round would have an impact on that. So I think that limited our spend, and that's why Buonanotte got loaned in, dry loan, not registered in the Champions League. I think that's Palmer cover. Esteval's not on here, but he's been brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Buonanotte is just cover. And what we saw in that down period from, I'd say, late December, early January to like March, April, Pedro Neto was up top and Kunku was on the left and Sancho was on the right for like 2 months. We had no squad. Everyone was hurt. A lot of competitions, and you can't play a B team anymore. We're in the Champions League. So I think kind of what we're seeing we keep asking the question with a lot of teams, where's he going to play? These guys just have to have bigger squads now. I think that's the reality. So it kind of is going to take a little bit of time to adjust to that being a norm, but I like what we did business-wise. I think it ended very disappointingly. We thought we'd get another big name. We were enamored, excited to get a Xavi Simons type signing in, but at the end of the day, I do think we did enough. I think the big question is the center back that we did not sign. We have Anselmino out on loan at Dortmund, and Sarr we loaned back to Strasbourg. And I think that also relates to Buonanotte because we loaned Kendry Paez to Strasbourg. I think they're starting to focus on that pathway a little more. I think they're starting to plan for the future. I still have my reservations because I think you're in the Champions League. You want to be ready to compete in the Champions League. But I think I trust what they're doing a little bit more than I did when the summer started. And what's on the screen now has a lot to do with that. We made £300 million in sales, not including add-ons, not including sell-ons. Unbelievable. Sterling and Disassi are the only ones left that we failed to sell, but I cannot believe the amount of guys that we cleared out. So much dead wood. A lot of players who I wouldn't have been opposed to keeping. Madueke I had no problem keeping, but after seeing Esteval, it makes sense why he was surplus. And Kunku, it never worked out. I was saying Petrovic should have been our starter a lot of last year. I think that comes down to how much I watched Robert Sanchez and not how much I watched George Petrovic. But sold him for a profit. Vega sold him for a profit. Dewsbury Hall, book value profit. Ugachukwu, same thing. So the Chelsea accountants were live and well. We're working hard. We're working overtime, but I put in a shift. We're done. I think we're going to see a lot less incomings. I could sound like we can clip that in a year and I'll look like a dipshit. We'll sign 12 players for the first team, but I do think they're starting to clear pathways. I think you're starting to see how Strasbourg is going to look. They're in the Conference League, and I think they're even younger than us. But all things considered with the window, I'd probably give it a 7.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it a 7. I just feel like I don't know what could have, because I like what we did, but it does just feel a bit underwhelming, doesn't it? Whether or not that's logical, it almost feels like, oh, they're this close to kind of getting it done, right? Maybe it was a keeper, maybe it was a center back, but it almost just feels like when they you get an iced coffee and you spend like $12 on it and it's just all ice.
Yeah.
Right? We're like, oh man, like I'll be all right, but it's kind of disappointing. That's where I'm at. So I don't even, maybe an outside perspective will help, but what do you think of the window?
I'm at a 6 or a 7. I think the reason it's so disappointing for Chelsea fans is because you guys, this is the nature of the business. You guys sign a fuck ton of players and you get rid of them.
Am I a transfer dopamine addict, Dylan? Is that what this is?
I think all Chelsea fans are. Look, dude, if any other team on planet Earth signed 6 players, specifically the 6 players that you guys signed, they'd probably be over the fucking moon. But it's because you guys over the last 2 or 3 years have had incomings of 8, 9 players every window pretty much, right? And the craziest part about this is like we didn't have Esteval in the clips. He's in the thumbnail. You did that business in January. He's here now. You have
we did that like 18 months ago. Dude.
Sure. And Quenda's going to be the same thing. So it's like Chelsea are constantly doing business. And so the nature of how it's done has created just this weird paradox in people's minds. And
no one's done this.
No, it's taken me time
They're
to understand.
stashing Wonder Kids at their sister club. There, it is
No,
a wild strat. But
it's
yeah,
strange.
I mean,
it's strange. It's unprecedented, and that's
why didn't they bring in Maignan? That pissed me off, and quite frankly,
Yeah.
I still don't fully trust Robert Sanchez. Well, they might get him on a free, Maignan, and they have Penders out on loan, who they rate very highly. He's at Strasbourg. Again, I think they've missed on signings. There's no doubt about that. There is no doubt. I'm sure you guys can list them off for me, no problems. I'm sure I could.
A lot of the guys you guys got rid of were misses.
I do think there are a lot of successes, and I think that's why I'm kind of feeling we're going to have less incomings. Because to your point, not to say Quenda's a success. He's not 18 years old yet, but we're planning for him to play in the squad. Paez, Penders, these youngsters, we're starting to see them actually develop a little bit and play for other sides. Okay. There's going to be a spot for them in this team. We can't spend 80 million on a center back right now or spend a bunch on a goalkeeper. Like, I think they're finding that balance, and it's frustrating because I think you're right, Dylan. I think Chelsea fans are addicts. I think we're horribly addicted to here we goes. But
you're on a subscription service.
Oh, dude, it is, bro. I even got excited when I saw the Garnacho one, and I was dreading it for like over 6 months, and I still was like, "Oh, here we go." Like it's a problem, but I do think everything's going to be all right.
I want to pose a question to Mila here because it's the reason that I'm a little lower on this window, and we've talked about it. You guys are now playing in all comps, all big comps. You just won the Club World Cup, and I look at the incomings here, and I see one player that I can go and look at and go, that's a proven commodity. I think he can play at the highest level. Everyone else, I go, there's a lot of question marks. Yeah, exactly. Garnacho is
kind of in the same boat, Dylan. I think I was just going to word it differently. There was a lack of incoming for killers.
Yeah.
Maybe assassins
the experience
in training type thing. But like win now killer that you can insert in the team that's going to do well pretty much no matter what. Like I think Yao Pedro can be that player. I didn't see him being that player when they got him though, and you guys know about my opinions.
Me neither.
But he can rise to that. But I think in terms of just the window as a whole, there wasn't really that big draw. And in terms of what we were just talking about too, in terms like the subscription service, it's not really that you're going to get a player. It's not that you're wondering whether there's going to be a transfer or not. It's who is it going to be? Like, what are you?
One of a sexy one.
Mystery box is better. Yeah, it's more of a mystery box thing for you guys. You're going to buy something. You just have to see what design you get on it or whatever. And I don't think you got the ones you wanted this year. I think you made the best of it. I don't think it's a bad window either, though. Just to preface that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think, fuck, I just totally blanked. Hard. Yeah, no, it's a good point though, Mila. You just felt like it was. I just think it was pathways. I think that's what it comes down to. I'm just trying to rationalize the window and out loud. That's what this is. But to me, there's no other explanation. That and the sanctions from UEFA. But I think it was trying to have that hindsight in mind. And to your point of not bringing in a killer, I think they're really banking on breeding those killers. I think they started to.
That's
but still, the risky part of that is, at the end of the day, broad picture, we're still banking on a lot to come through. Versus we don't have it all in yet. It's not there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Very but in the future, we didn't want to stocks.
I prefer at the end of the day that we didn't buy a center back than panic, slap 200K on a guy, break our wage structure, and it's Koulibaly again. You know, like I do think at the end of the day it was the safest bet. Food at home, a Chempong I still rate very highly at center back. Briefs that came out today where we bring one of those kids back from loan if we needed a defender. So it really is just trusting the food at home, right? Like Palmer, when we signed him, no one knew who he was. And you can't use Palmer for everybody. But at the end of the day, I do think we need to trust some of these guys to be able to come good to some extent. Even the guys that haven't, we've sold for a profit. That's the whole model.
Palmer was a gimme is my issue with that, though. a gimme when you're bringing in a bunch of City staff and he's the first signing that comes off the books. Like, they knew.
Did we get another City guy before him? Trying to think. Probably not. That's fair. I think Palmer's an unfair comp because he's arguably the best player in the league. But they've brought in a lot of young, unknown players where it's like, oh, he can play a little bit. There's something here.
Back to it being
so they're banking on their youngsters to really come through the pathway. Yeah. I'm really high on a lot of our players, but again, you are still running a risk of not having the commodity there. To Mila's point with the João Pedro, I think we're banking on him a lot. I think when we first signed him, I was kind of confused, and 2 goals against Fluminense. All right. You know what I mean? He kind of just came in and did his thing right away. I'm going to bank on him, and I think I don't have the term in front of me, but essentially when you get surrounded by better players, you're inherently going to get better. I think they're also banking on a lot of that. Maybe not a lot of it.
New situation.
Like a Garnacho, for example. I think he'll do better as a winger in this system than an inside forward in Amarim's, with all the things going on there versus all the things going on here. So you're banking on that as well. Same goes for Delap, obviously. Asugo played for a relegated side in Spain on loan. So I think you're banking on a lot of that as well. But yeah, I'd have to go 7. I'd have to go 7. I feel like it's safe. It was good. But it just leaves some to be desired still. So I feel like 7 kind of sums that up.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in between there. I'm like a 6.
Those outgoings alone, just the outgoings are a 9.5. If Sterling, that would have been a miracle to offload Sterling. But DeSassi and Sterling being the only guys left in that bomb squad, very impressive work from the sporting directors. We made a profit this summer, and we spent that.
I guess for me, because of the way that you guys do business, that's less of a plus to me and more of a requirement.
Right.
And so that's why I'm less high on that. I think that's what makes it that if I was to push it to a 7, it would be the outgoings. But I'm now at a point where I'm like, you have to do that because it's the way.
Like if United did this, you shit yourself.
Well, and it would be a 10 out of 10 window. Yeah.
But I totally get it. I still think we did well, even considering the fact that we have to sell. But yeah, that's totally fair. That's part of the deal. You're expecting them to sell 8 guys minimum. It's fair.
I'm cool with the 6 or a 7 or a 6.5. I'm gonna let Mila kind of be the judge call here.
All up to you, my friend. You're muted.
6.5.
Okay, we're going 6.5 for Chelsea. Let's move on to another London team. Arsenal had a busy window. Window. We've talked about this just a ton this summer. We've talked about this because they've been to the same Liverpool point. They spent a ton of money. A lot of defenders, Eze, Noni, and Gyökeres. I'm high on this window, but I'm also not blown away. They didn't get rid of anybody, right?
Yeah. I'm looking at, I was literally what I was pulling up. So would you like to guess their highest sale? There are 2 permanent departures.
Was Kivior a permanent?
Nope. Loan with obligation, Dylan.
Loan with obligation.
Team in the summer. I think it was like 17 million euros. I think it was like 17. Just guess the fee.
Who did they get rid of? I'm going to go with it was like 5 mil.
It was 5 million. Nuno Tavares' loan at Lazio became permanent. Marquinhos, the right winger they bought from a few years ago, is back in Brazil for 3 million euros. And then Sambi Lokonga, permanent to Hamburg for 300 grand euros. Those are their permanent departures. Partey on a free, Tierney on a free, Jorginho on a free, Fabio Vieira, Zinchenko, Reece Nelson all on loan.
I think that just caps. I can't go anything higher than 8 for me because of that.
I was going to go 8.5.
I can't go any higher because but to my own point, and I have to be on, like, I have to be neutral to the point of like, they're going all in. This is an all-in window. Zubamendi's a really good talent. Eze is a really good talent. I am higher on Gyökeres than most. I think that they've needed that for a long time. So I'm going to stick with that point to not be a hypocrite.
Can't wait for you to die on that hill, bro.
I will die on that hill. I think
good. I respect you, Dylan.
Even if he ends up just being a bottom feeder destroyer, that's what they've lacked for the last 2 years.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's all Facundo will tell me. Can't beat the little guys. Can't beat the minnows.
Gyökeres is
They're
if
gonna
he's a
beat the
little man killer.
minnows. I think that all these signings have just guaranteed that they will beat some of the bottom of the league teams by 4 or 5 goals. Congratulations. That
Are you
performance
concerned
against
about the top?
Liverpool. Yeah, if you're not gonna go play against them, you're not gonna win.
Yeah, but they didn't have Saka, and as they didn't, I
That shit
this is a
happens, though. Like
manager thing
I
for
mean,
me.
of
So
course, and that's why I haven't said anything
Go
against
get
their
the
transfer
Arteta
window.
out
Anything
thumbnail.
serious against their transfer window. Individually, the players they brought in are great, and they definitely could do something.
And they brought in
The
Kepa.
system, yeah, the way the system's implemented is like, I don't think he's gonna maximize the output of these players. So it's just like, meh.
I think they brought in a lot of good names to your point, Mila. I think they addressed a lot of depth issues. But when you look at it, again, we already listed they did not make any money here. It's a lot of replacing players, right? Like you lose Neto, Kepa comes in, cool. Tomiyasu's out, need another fullback center back hybrid. Hincapie's in, Partey and Jorginho leave, Zubamendi and Norgard come in. Right, Jesus is pretty much gone, even though he's still there, and you're paying him a lot of money. Gyökeres is in. Kivior gone, Mascara in. Well, I think Hincapie came for Kivior, but they didn't bring in. I think Eze was one of the only guys where it was like, this is an addition. He's not replacing anybody. We're adding to what we have. So I think that's getting a little bit overlooked for them. I still think, I mean, look at this 7 great players, Kepa, Arrizabalaga. It's a good window, but yeah, I don't know if it's enough, bro. But I don't know what else they could have done in terms of incomings. Yeah, I think they addressed everything with incomings. I think Zubamendi, great signing. Madueke, because of getting Eze in, smart signing. Gyökeres, to your guys' point, they needed that. They needed a goal-scoring 9. Whatever he ends up being, you have him now, and you have 29. You have 2 vastly different profiles to answer whatever questions your opponent brings. I think they did well, but yeah, the outgoings to me limit them. They cap it at an 8.
Yeah, I'm an 8 for this window. I think that they addressed needs.
Like incomings are a 10 for me. I don't know what else they could have done.
They literally the 2 injuries that would have plagued them last season, which
Mascara
was
looked good.
Hurt. That was Noni, and he played. I thought he played well against Liverpool, and Mascara looked great for Saliba. And look, there's a chance that Saliba leaves next window. So they had to do something. They just did it now. Mm-hmm. It's just, I look at this team and I don't know if it was the perfect window for the manager. And there's a disconnect, and it's been there for a long time. He's created the disconnect in the past. I think this time the sporting director said, fuck it, we're going to be in control at this point. And it still feels like an island of misfit toys a little bit. And I don't know if it's enough to get over the hump. And either someone has to adapt.
Yeah, Facundo brought this up with me, so I'll give him his shine in terms of what he wants to be said, probably. But like the fact that it shouldn't be Arteta has to adapt to Gyökeres. It should be Gyökeres can adapt to this team. But the fact that we've kind of already come to the conclusion that he can't adapt to what he's being asked to do, and now you're looking at Arteta like, hey, you see what Pep did with Haaland? You got to do that with this guy. The fact that it's already raising those types of questions is concerning. But again, I think to what you said at the very beginning, that all comes down to how's the manager going to use these tools. When I rank their window in terms of what they got done, incomings, 10. Outgoings, reeked. Probably a 1 or a 2. So I just still think, all things considered, you got to give it an 8. Well, but yeah, I think to your point, that's where the questions lie. Yeah. What's the manager? How is he going to use them? But to me, I don't know what other questions the transfer business couldn't have answered in terms of what do we need to bring in? I think they brought in everything they wanted to bring in. Arteta got to bring in another defender at the end of it with Hincapie. Another loan to obligation. Another loan with an obligation. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just can't see what else they could have done with incomings. That's ratings wise. That's why I can't rationalize anything else.
Fair. Okay. So we'll stick it as an 8 since we're going a little long. We'll speed up the last 3 since we've talked about United and City in every episode. So when it comes to transfer stuff, we'll start with United. I'll give a little spiel here.
Yeah.
It's 3 players that directly fit the system in a team that didn't score enough goals. And then They picked a guy that they've been scouting for a long time, which that actually goes for C.O.C and Lemons, or however you pronounce it. And they went with the idea of a project because this is what this summer is. It's what the team is. I know they didn't get the midfielder. I know that's going to bring down our rating as a whole. But I feel for myself this is an 8 window for United. And it comes down to the idea that you gave the manager pieces that he needed. They didn't do anything for him in the winter. And I actually look at all 4 of these signings and I go, they make sense. That's not this, let's stick a round peg in a square hole. Let's get guys that work in a system, or later might go in a different system. But the 2 most important pieces on the field, I think, to quote Conte, are the goalie and the striker, because you can always, I think he said something along the lines of, you can always mess up a marriage, but you can't mess up a striker and a goalie, because it'll always come back to haunt you. They spent a fuck ton of cash. They spent a fuck ton of cash on 2 Premier League proven guys, a project, or in 2 projects in a season where United are probably going to have ups and downs. So I'm high on the incomings.
I think 4 out of the 5 positions that you needed addressed were addressed. Based off that, say like 80%. It's like a B. I don't know. I just think that that deeper midfielder was super important though, and they missed out on that. So that lowers it for me. But I do agree with you that all the incomings have been fantastic.
Yeah, I think I think it's gotten lost in the length of the transfer window is the idea that wasn't priority 1. Like, we all looked at United last season and went, I think they can be all right if they don't get a midfielder, but if they get some attacking talent, then they can actually compete a little bit. Because last year they scored 40-something goals. Just wasn't good enough. They haven't scored, I don't think they've scored 50 goals in like 2 or 3 seasons now. Maybe the first year with Ten Hag. But it's been way too long with not enough attacking talent. To where at this point, I'm content with the idea that we don't have a midfielder. I think it's going to be our undoing, and it's going to be why it's going to go like this all season. But in January, they can right that wrong. And if they feel that Carlos Baleba is that guy and they're willing to wait that out, I think that just goes to the idea of what this is, which is a project. And if you rank a player that highly and you don't want to miss out on him, you're not going for a stopgap right now, because that directly
defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it does. That's what they did with you.
Kind of to my discussion with blocking pathways and whatnot, I think you're at a much earlier stage, obviously, but you have to keep that eye out where it's like, what are we competing for this year? The FA Cup. That is all you're competing for this year, right?
Yep.
So why would you panic and get Emmy on deadline day? It doesn't make sense.
Nope.
I think it's better to not do any business at all than notoriously a team who panics, throws a lot of money at something, and hope it fixes it. What's there to fix? I think it's a very important distinction. So is Layman's underwhelming as a name? Yeah. So what? What's the pressure? What are they playing in? They're literally playing 1 game a week until January. Like, I don't think there's any rush to go bring in some guy, this or that. And to your point, Dylan, Layman's has been being scouted by United for years. He's a data darling, right? All the analytics say he's top. Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. And, Baleba's not available this year. Okay, we'll finish 8th and then get him next year, right? Like, what's that going to hurt? Oh, no, let's go get someone else to compete with Ugarte and Casemiro, who will both be on the books next year. Yeah. So I do think that is important. Some business not being done is better than panicking and getting it wrong. So I do think it's important, but outgoings hurt you a little bit. Garnacho, you probably got less than what you should have gotten for him or could have gotten in January. But at the end of the day, it's still good business. It's pure profit. It had to be done. Yeah. So all things considered, good job. Anthony, you got a fee. It's done. To what Mila was saying with Newcastle, forget it ever happened. Move on. A lot of wages off the books. I think that's important. They didn't get many fees, but a lot of wages are off the books. They're not giving Cunha $400,000 a week or anything ridiculous. It's steps in the right direction. You're building the foundation. What rating am I going to give this?
I'll give a final point. Is we had gone into the summer and we were looking at the bomb squad. None of us thought that United were going to be able to get rid of all of them. United got rid of all of them except for Malacia, who's the only one I really didn't care about.
Well, Rashford's gone. You can reintegrate him.
Well, according to the reports coming out of Spain, they want to give him back after 3 matches. Maybe it's because he is a different skin color and is British, and that's
that was her. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's insane.
Ridiculous.
I didn't pay any mind to that. Yeah. What am I gonna rate it? I don't know. It's just so hard because there's so much context. I think you made really good points, Dylan, with like, given where this team's at right now, you know exactly where these guys are going to play. What I'm starting to take into account and maybe clouding my judgment is Amarim there in 2 months, 3 months? So I'm not even going to think like that. In terms of where they're at right now, what they needed to do and how it helps set them up for the future, safe 6. That's where I'm going to go.
6. Where are you at, Mila?
I'm a 6. I'm also 6.
Okay. I'm going to stick it at a 6.5 because that was an 8.
Have that.
Okay. Mila, City, we talked all about the incomings because they all happened before the Club World Cup, except for the news star, darling.
I'm actually glad you did this. Yes.
That was all great.
I think there's a lot to be talked about with this picture, and then some of the Grant's stuck. And then there's also the rest of the outgoings, just based off pure wages that they had. Like, Ederson in this picture was making the least. He was making dirt money, 100K a week. Undeserved, but whatever. KDB was making 300K a week, 400K a week. Jack Grealish was making 300K a week. Gundogan was making 230K a week. We have Ederson, like I said. Kyle Walker, 175K a week. It's a lot of guys on a lot of bread. And I think that's the most important thing is we got out the old guard, brought in the new guard, and got a lot of wages off the books in the process to help build for the future. And it has nothing to do with the transfer window, but with the ruling today, the settlement today, we're going to have more firepower to bring into the transfer window. So that's more of a future thing, but in terms of setting up for the future, I think that's what a lot of this transfer window was doing. And in that sense, we did a really good job. I think the only one that confused people a lot was the Donnarumma signing. And there are reasons for that. I think if you just look at the direction this team's going, it makes sense in a way. But it is unfortunate for Trafford. And then I think we have 2 gaps to fill. And they weren't addressed in this window. But outside of that, everything else has been addressed. We needed 8 players, 9 players, half a year ago when we were talking about it? They addressed most of those positions. They addressed 7 out of 9, I think. That's right, fantastic. Back. It's been 2, I think, right back, right wing, right side altogether. But Bob can obviously come into that. But immediately right now,
Foden,
there are definitely
there's variations
into that. I think Foden's gonna end up in the middle, but we do need him to just actually fucking touch the pitch. So
yeah,
there's enough attacking talent. I'm not as worried. I think right back's the only real hole that is worried about.
I can agree on that. And I think Livermento's the clear and obvious one, just with how good he is, how versatile he is, and obviously our past wanting of him.
And the lack of options elsewhere in the market.
Lack of options, yeah. And now we have the extra bread to go get him. So that seems like it's going to come. But in terms of this window, I think we did a really good job. We could have done better. And I think maybe we're buying into the media a little too much. Because we could have just spent the money and been done with it and spent less than Liverpool this season.
Yeah.
I liked the window a lot.
Everyone would have been on our ass.
Of course.
Would have been on our ass.
I liked the City window. I think to your point, there was a lot of gas with it. You need to look at what exactly is happening at City right now. I think it's hard for a lot of people to really grasp. It's a full-on rebuild while also playing in every top-level competition with the expectation of winning said competition. Yep. Chelsea were in 12th when they do it. United are where they are right now. Spurs are not in the same situation City are in, but in a very weird, similar type of situation where they're trying to rebuild, they're trying to compete for everything, but they have no expectation. City have every expectation because of what Mila was saying, the money they've spent in the past, all of these things. Pep Guardiola's there, the best manager we've seen in this era. All of these things. it is so much. And I think in a perfect world, you might be looking at a Stones or an Ake. Oh, they're still here. You can't get rid of all of them. Chelsea did because they were in 12th. It didn't matter. Man City cannot afford to do that. You still need to have some of that old guard passing down the wisdom, the knowledge, if you will. Obviously, you still got guys like Rodri playing week in, week out in a perfect world. And Holland, I think, understands what it means, what needs to be done. I think you have that there, but it is just so much. And I think it's hard to really project in a sense, similar to how we're struggling with Liverpool. There's just so much going on at City. There's so much unknown. But to Mila's point, they did really well in their outgoings, gave themselves some financial flexibility, and realistically only missed out on one more position to really answer every question. There are still questions about the players they brought in, but I still think most of them have pretty high floors. So I feel like 8's pretty safe for City's window. Donnarumma, the questions are there. I get it. He had that blunder today. But to your point, Mila, it makes sense to me. Part of this rebuild, in my opinion, just from everything we're seeing, is it looks like they're going to be conceding more chances, more shots on goal. I think you prefer to have a Donnarumma in there. He also has his negatives. But again, I theoretically understand it. And the video you sent, I did like, maybe they do start rotating keepers.
That's what I was just about to bring up.
I'm down because it's not my team. I'm super down to see how that plays out.
Posted that, but that was a great video. And if
Adam Cleary
decides,
shout out,
if he starts to rotate the goalkeepers,
I wouldn't put anything past him.
Match the style of play that he wants to play on that specific day.
Fire. It's the most man. That's honestly, the most
Slavia Prague, Trafford.
Exactly. Slavia Prague, Trafford, Liverpool, Donnarumma. I don't know.
Bro, Inter Milan did it and went to a Champions League final. Onana only played Champions League.
That's true. I'm really high on the talent that was brought in. I don't think it addressed. I'm lower on the window as a whole because I don't think it addressed the needs that I had concerns about last year. Like, I think Reinders has the ability to be the signing of the summer. At the price point and what he brings to City, absolutely. But I look at City last year and I really had an athleticism problem with the team. I don't look at any of the other signings outside of him and go, well, that's a good athlete. Like, Aït-Nouri's all right.
Aït-Nouri's a great athlete.
Not.
I think he showed that. Cherky's not an athlete. That's fair. But for 30 million.
Marcus Bettinelli is a elite athlete.
The price makes sense and the talent plays there. But I really had an issue with City not being athletic enough last year. And I think you're starting to see that still in this start of the season. Like, when you get beat in transition, some of that comes down to being not athletic.
I think those have been addressed. They're just not playing, to your point. So I don't think you should ding it on the transfer. Like, Kusanov was class. He's been our best center back. He's played 45
I thought in the glimpses of game time that we saw from him in the first few games, you immediately saw how important his recovery pace was. I think you were gassing that from the minute you signed him. But now you're really seeing how important that's going to be with the Ruben Diaz early season struggles and Stones isn't up to it just yet. Maybe it's, again, season just started. Mm-hmm. That type of pace that Kusanov has.
To your point, though, we can't just ship these guys off like all at once. And the defense is going to be the last to fall, especially because they are literally like they were our guard. They were the best defense in Europe, and then we won the trophy that we've been looking at for years trying to get it, and then the reason we got it because our defense was so strong. Those guys are hard to phase out, and in a perfect world, I do think Kusanov, Vitor Reis, with more experience, 3 to 4 more years of experience, are my perfect fucking duo at the back. Unstoppable, fast, strong, recovery pace, gonna win everything in the air, aggressive. Like, that's perfect. It's what we want. And right now, we're not seeing either of those guys. Reis is fucking getting bludgeoned every week at Girona. 4 goals a game. Not worth it. He'll probably be coming back soon, just based off that in my eyes. And the fact that John Stones is now hurt. John Stones and Diaz were the starters. Kusanov got hurt. That cannot be happening. Kusanov needs to make his way into the starting lineup. Gavardio needs to come back to fitness. And
forgot about him.
I don't think Stones or Diaz,
that'll help.
I think both of them are very, very close to losing their jobs. Not in the way that they're kicked out the team, but just that these guys are going to play you out the park because you can't offer what you used to offer. And to your point, like we're also conceding more chances. Like Diaz can't just be that guy in the box blocking shots if we're conceding that many chances, which is a big part of
the defense is a lot. I think that's the big piece of the puzzle because you have Nunez, who is a converted midfielder. You have Rico, who physically maybe isn't up to it defensively at right back, more of an inside the lines, very technical, good player. And then I know who I thought of as a wing back. Again, he can prove me wrong on that, but two unknown commodities, if you will, defensively. And then to your point, I think the perfect pairing, given what you have right this second, like, Vardio on the left, Kusanov on the right, like that's just so great, right?
Neither
those two youngsters next to two inexperienced fullbacks, like brand new goalkeeper, that's asking so much. You have to have one of a Ruben Diaz or a John Stones, even an Ake, I'd say. You have to have one of those guys still there because you have so many young defenders, and it's a hard position to just throw a youngster in to figure it out.
Their game clips are not helping them whatsoever.
No, they've struggled, but again, it's hard to throw those youngsters into the deep end.
Header. I don't know. Diaz misses this header. Stones slips. It's one play. Diaz just came into the game. Like, come on, dude. We just extended him, and I'm a huge fan. You guys know both of those guys.
Yeah.
Probably two of my favorite players for the club, but it needs to be better. Especially when
I'm sure they know.
We have two losses on the season already. There's not much room to drop any more points.
Yeah,
we're gonna drop more points, so that's the thing. I don't know. They also have a lot more expectation from me because they've been here. They know better, and they've won what they've won. So the leash is a lot shorter in that sense for me.
So what's your ranking on the window?
I still think it's an 8, but I think a lot of what was addressed in that position, especially the defense, was addressed last window. Kind of feel like we're grouping them into one window. But if
the projects,
the case, then yeah, it 8 for me is perfect.
Grant, you were an 8.
If you want to just say this summer, I think we could go like 6.
You guys both have it at 8. I have it like a 6.5. I'm gonna give it as a 7.5 because you guys have 2 there.
Yeah, we've been dunking
really
on
like
all day, Dylan.
So yeah, well,
our ratings are just better.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I'm not biased at all.
All right, 2 minutes for this next one. Let's do it.
Yeah, Spurs rebounded.
No, done.
They rebounded well. I think it's a 7.
I think Polina did. I think Polina was a great answer. They needed a 6. I think you have more than enough options next to him to make that midfield work. I think Frank will be able to make that work. I think that plays a big part into the transfer window for me and my rating for them. Xavi is a huge get. I think it's no secret he wanted to go Chelsea. We never offered. Yeah, go play in London. Go be a star. I think he's going to be really good for them. And then Kudus. I know we've talked about Kudus enough times, but I rate the signing.
I actually might have to change my thing. This might be my first 10. This window might be my first 10.
Was it Kolo Muani on loan, Dylan?
No, it's the fact that they got that fucking lizard out from their club.
That happened after the window closed. That happened after the window shut.
No, I don't care.
Not a transfer.
No, window shut.
Window shut out of their club. That's a fucking 10 for me.
It is huge for Tottenham. It's huge. I hope it ends up worse. But Kolo Muani, we all know he wanted to stay at Juve.
It's a decent loan.
The finances didn't work. He rejected them in January. So again, I always have questions about bringing a guy who you know for a fact does not want to be at your club. That does raise questions for me. But again, I think Solanke and Richarlison's injury history, it's important cover to have. I think it's good bit of business, dry loan, no obligation. I think it's solid. He'll do a job. Yeah. Xavi's a great get. I think Kudus is a good get. And I think Polina does the job. So I think all their incomings are great. They have 3 center backs fit right now. Dragishin, I don't think he's very good, and he's also hurt. Ben Davies is still there. So that's a bit of a question mark for me. You have 3 left backs. Yeah, I just don't. That's what I worry about. But I think every incoming was good. I do think every incoming absolutely does a job for them. And I think Thomas Frank is a huge upgrade off Ange. Respectfully, I do like Ange. I love the 6 points back-to-back years. But I do think Frank, for what they need right now, in terms of their sort of mini rebuild and where they're at, he'll be able to put the right pieces in the right spots. at least in my opinion. You said a 10, Dylan? Or
No,
that's just because
I was just kidding.
Kidding
No.
about Levy.
I don't honestly. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to put it into perspective of how we ranked the other teams. This isn't a better window for me than what Chelsea did. This isn't a better window for me than what United did. So I can't go higher than a 6.5. It'd have to be 6.5 or lower.
6, just because they're
They
top.
bought him names, bro. I'm not that.
Kudus, Moani.
Kudus is a name to me. Xavi Simons is a name to me. Fucking.
You did say that very early on.
Paulinho is the most exciting in my eyes. Paulinho is the most exciting player.
But
it's a crazy statement. But I see what you mean.
It's fucking huh?
And you couldn't crack it at Bayern.
I think that was the most obvious
Premier League,
thing ever. I don't know why
he knows the league. He knows how to run this league. He was running it at Fulham single-handedly.
I think, and again with Frank, it's like, a game where we need to make it ugly. Yeah, we'll throw him in there.
I'm not also saying that
we're playing
Paulinho's like
a
some
different team.
star-studded player.
No,
that they picked up.
but he does the job. They needed that in their team.
Xavi Simons underwhelmed me so much, and I think Paulinho is going to be the most impactful. That is a little bit of a stretch
is there
because Xavi Simons could be very good. But you guys know I've talked about it on here before.
Yeah.
He's just a name up until this point. He's a FIFA card and a fucking name. And he'll have a little bit of highlights that we'll see.
Yeah, I actually never wanted him.
Fucking play. I just don't. I don't know. If he pops off, fair play. But to this point, he has been a name that has been thrown around in transfers for years. And someone finally went and got him. Kudus, the same shit. So, I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'd go 5.5, 6.
I'm cool with 6 because I do think they addressed holes, but in terms of are they the right guys?
I think
sure.
Yeah, on paper they addressed the holes. In practice,
it still does feel a bit underwhelming though in terms of we thought they would do more because it is a big rebuild they're kind of enduring. But again, maybe it's just
I think Morgan Gibbs
you have
would have been huge
less injuries
that go through.
It would have been him instead of Simons. Yeah, he would have been more expensive too. But again, because we know what he does in this league. So yeah, it's a risk, but I think they got a good deal for Simons. £52 million really isn't that much in the broad scheme of things. I don't think it's that crazy of a fee. 2 dry loans. Good business, right? I think they make great deals. But yeah, throw it up again.
No, I was trying to actually throw this.
But yeah, 6. I think it's a 6.
So these are our transfer rankings. Obviously, Liverpool did win it. Technically off of our rankings, but I the amount of spending, I think we had to get selective with how we actually ranked it because a lot of this is going to come down to, like for Arsenal, this is an 8 transfer window now, but if they don't go on to win anything, it drops pretty low pretty quickly.
No, I rated their window high so I could bash them when they don't win.
Yeah, there you go. Smart. Build them up to break them down.
Oh yeah.
And now it's time to talk about the football since we missed it so much, and now we actually get to talk about the darkest of derbies again. Like I said, recurring theme. Every time apparently these two teams play, it's been a shit fest, and I'm not expecting anything different.
2 goalkeeper debuts in one match.
It could be Bayern Deer, Mila.
Potentially.
Yeah. Layman's doesn't know the system yet.
I would be so surprised. Yeah, I would be very surprised if you bring in. I don't know. That wouldn't make sense to me.
I think he's going to play because if it was like a leading him in thing, it would make sense if there was like a Southampton or something afterwards, like, a relegation side after, but it's Chelsea right after. So there's no adaptation by fire. I think you
think
sink or swim.
Is going to play?
Yeah, I think he starts because it's sink or swim. You have City and then Chelsea. I don't think you can realistically not put him in and run out there with Bayern Deer after he's already cost United at least 4 points this season. That just seems like a bad idea. I think C.O.C gets his first start from a United perspective, though. I think happens. No,
I don't think he's been up to speed. I don't think he's been fit enough. He was kind of in the pseudo bomb squad, if you will. They're training alone. It's different. So I think he hasn't really been up to fitness yet. I 100% agree. I think he definitely starts. Layman's probably too.
Yeah.
Do we get a Diogo Dalot start, Dylan? Because I think that would, if I see him in the lineup, my expectations go somehow lower.
I really hope not, if I'm being honest with you.
I think he's going to start.
He's been poor. I think there's a chance he does. If I was to run out a quick United lineup, it's probably Euro, De Ligt, Shaw, which I'm not in love with, but that Layman's I'd start.
Dorgu.
I think it's going to be Mainu and Ugarte alongside Ahmed at right back and Buemo in the right 10, Bruno in the left 10, Sesko up top.
I think it's Dallo. That's the only difference. I agree,
could be. I'd actually rather, instead of it being Dallo and playing him either out of position or at right wing back, which he's bad at both, I'd rather it just be Mazraoui if you're going to play defensive. He came on and played some minutes. I think that means that he's healthy. I'd rather him play at right. I'd rather him play at right wing back if you're going to play defensive. But
I think they put a defensive-minded player. Yeah, that's where my head was going.
With the way that City has been playing and the ability to get at them in transition, the idea of putting Ahmed, who already proved that he could do this, and Mbeumo at right wing, I think that's you just play the hand. And if you lose and it's on your sword, I don't think you can sit back and let City build into the game and beat you that way. I think that's just a bad idea in a derby. Because form goes out the window to a certain extent. So you put out your best players. From a City perspective, Mila, I mean, are you expecting to see the same-ish lineup, just maybe Kusanov or is Gvardiol fit?
Dude, that's the thing. I just checked the Croatia game. He didn't travel with them. That doesn't mean he's not fit.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything, haven't seen anything that indicates that he is fit to play. I think it'd be a little crazy to throw him into a derby right off the bat. My guess would be, well, it has to be Kusanov. There's no Stones.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, yeah, I guess Kusanov, Diaz left center back.
Yeah. Ain't Nori left back.
Nori will be there. Yeah,
for sure.
Who's right back?
You cannot play Nunes in this game. He's the reason we didn't fucking beat you guys at least once last year.
Yeah.
It's got to be Rico. Put the fucking academy kid in there, for fuck's sake. It's a derby. Play someone.
He knows what it means.
Something to him, bro. Exactly. A fighter. Like, I don't want to see Nunes play this game, even though I feel like he might, just because of his recovery speed and just overall pace. But Rico knows what it means. I think Nico G will play, unless Rodri's up and ready to go.
Okay. No, you're good.
Back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Rodri or Nico G. Oh, that's an obvious one. I feel like.
Rodri played for Spain, so
hopefully Foden. Yeah, hopefully Foden. Rodri, Reinders, Foden would be the go-to for me in the middle.
Yeah.
Probably go
Holland up top.
Doku, Holland. Yeah.
You're not starting Marmoush again?
I think Doku is found a little bit of magic right now, just based off his form with Belgium. So hoping that he can use his
strike while the iron's hot.
Holland. Yeah, use his hand signals with Holland, strike while the iron's hot, and get some goals or assists.
Yeah. There could be the argument.
And Donnarumma.
Oh, wow. Going straight for the start.
I think he's going to have to, bro. You guys open us up just in transition all the time, and he's the perfect player to stop that.
You don't need him for build-up. Yeah.
That's fair.
Don't need to
in a game like this, no.
I think we could play a lot more direct against you guys in this game.
Yeah. Who's your star player in terms of impact, and if you were going to pick somebody to kind of be the destroyer of worlds?
Donnarumma.
Mr. Italian?
I don't know. I could see him having a great game. I can really see it. Him and Holland have been super
Derby? Juice is flowing?
Why the fuck they're so buddy with each other, but he's ready. Also just hates the Brits.
He does hate Brits.
For the Might as well just hate Brits. All out. Oh, I'm down to back right on that one.
What if they just signed him just to just scare Saka? Like
Only
Saka's gonna
play the
see
league.
Donnarumma and just go, no,
wanna
not
play
this
today."
guy. Donnarumma just keeps showing up.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Donnarumma can win you games from. He might be the only one that can win you games from that position.
Saw him doing the Champions League, but yeah, throughout the league season, I feel like that was the big critique I always heard because obviously I'm not watching PSG play their domestic games, but I heard a lot of critiques there. But again, what we saw, all that we watched, he was top. He was brilliant in the Champions League. So hopefully he carries that form over for you, Mila.
I'm hoping those league lapses are
farmer
too
tax
easy for us. We're playing half of our team, barely playing any of the starters. I'm bored. We're gonna win the league regardless.
Yeah, we're playing 12th place Nantes. Yeah, let's. Score predictions.
I'll do my star player and then my score prediction. Star player is going to be Mbeumo. He's a City. He likes to play against City. It's a Frank guy. I think that it's a styles make fights type of thing. 8 Nori against Mbeumo gives me. I think I'll take Mbeumo
like that.
there. I like that. Score prediction. I think it's going to be. Fuck it. How many times has City lost 2-1 recently? Once. 2-1. They've given up 2 goals in 2 games, so I'm gonna go with United to win because I'm not gonna pick them to lose in a derby. 2-1 United.
Mila, did you give a score?
No, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I got a 1-1.
Yeah, that seems 3-2 City.
Yeah, we gotta get back for last year. You guys fucking
took 4
Is it at the
points
Etihad?
Points off of us.
Yeah.
Especially how it went down last year.
Yeah. There's going to be a
Streaks of 1-1.
The pitch. Do not let Nunes near the pitch on this one.
We'll go 1-1, and I don't necessarily have a star player prediction, but my prediction is that United's goal is another own goal.
That's hey, dude. Based off of the way things are going, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Yeah, 1-1. This is a win-win for me. I'm so excited, dude. Hopefully we take care of business so I can go into this with a clear mind. But if that is the case, man, 2 feet are kicked up. I either get to make fun of one of you or both. So hopefully it's not one of those 1-1s where you could both take positives. I don't think Mila would take many positives, but I hope it's a negative for both teams. That's what I want. But yeah.
Any result here for United is a win. I think it has to be a win for City.
I agree.
For it to be positive, obviously, but
I agree.
But there we are. We'll get into it in the next one. We're at 1 hour and 27 minutes, so let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, from myself, Grant, and Mila, we have been Clash of Clubs. This has been episode 61, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
2 words for him. Different gravy. Glorious goal! Wreathed in red. We're really seeing the most extraordinary finish here. On this day of days, has he delivered? Just magnificent! Potentially life-changing. That's football. Minute you let it under your skin, then you begin to make it better.